I'll just hit record.
Oh, I don't remember it being amazing. I mean, it was interesting.
Yeah, I think I tried
Um,
listening to some of it, but I just couldn't. I couldn't really keep up listening to it.
no, that was kind of the same for me. And then I remember, I mean, you had said that the movie is pretty different than the actual story, right?
That's what I heard because I
That's
never
what I
finished
hear.
the. I've read probably more than I listened to, and I didn't get very far. I think I got to where the Green Knight comes in, and then I think they fought, and then I stopped there.
Well,
I don't
there's
remember.
several different versions
I had the Tolkien one.
across time. Oh,
Oh,
I found it
I
at
wonder which
McKay's or
one.
something. He did a translation of it. Tolkien
that's
did.
cool.
I think
Yeah.
that's the one I listened to.
Yeah. So I don't know. I love the movie though. I know people got upset about it for some reason, but I thought it was great.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Did people get upset about it?
Well, I don't think Peugeot liked it. He didn't do a very good
He did
review.
not.
And then
How about that?
um I think Grail Country, the guys on there talk Nate Heil and I think someone else talked about it a little bit, and I don't think they were super thrilled with the movie either. I
Wasn't it
think
just because of the end, though?
Oh, I
Right?
I
love
don't
the
know.
end. Are you kidding me?
Uh
Oh, so Christian.
the well no, did you watch the after credits part, Mitch? I didn't know it was there.
Where somebody else picks up the.
Yeah. It was I
That's
was
not the end. The
That's
end
what
is
I thought
before the
too.
credits.
Yeah. And Peugeot, because Peugeot's complaint was, I think the after credits part, or he said at the end, it was the whole. He was saying it was the whole feminist thing, that they wanted to throw in there, and then I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, I don't remember that scene at all. And I watched the movie probably like 3 times before I watched through the end credits, and then I finally saw it, and I was like, oh, and I was just like that. Yeah, it was
We
weird.
don't know what her story's gonna be.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we don't, and the whole thing seemed it was kind of a weird, not unnecessary. It felt like it wasn't really related to the story at all.
That's why it's after the credits.
Yep. I liked the end though too. I thought it was great.
That was awesome.
All right, so we're here again. I don't know if anyone else might join. I sent out the link to everybody.
Did you ever hear from
Basically,
Craig?
no, he said he would. He said he was thinking about joining, but I don't. I didn't hear anything back.
Craig
That's
is
all
the
right.
#1 guy that everyone wants to crash their party.
I know. He just
Yeah.
asks such good questions.
He really
And I feel
does.
like he does a really good job at
Oh,
like wrapping it up and then bringing it back to the chapter and
he
then,
does.
pointing the conversation in a good direction. He does that well.
You do that well as well. As
Me?
well. Yes,
I
you do.
try. I
Um,
try.
but before we get into this, Phantastes chapter 6, will you please explain to us why bubbles are round? Because this is related to why planets are round, right? Why they're not square.
I assumed so. Mitch, did he talk to you about this?
He mentioned that you had given him a satisfactory explanation for it.
I thought it was satisfactory.
It was
one
at
of
least
those
it was
on
at
the
least an
top of my head.
explanation. Yeah.
The reason why bubbles are round is because of the surface tension of the actual bubble, right? Like the soapy water mix. There are molecular forces pulling it together. And so a sphere is the shape that both maximizes the area or the volume inside of it while minimizing the surface area. So, for example, you could have a cube and a sphere and a pyramid with all the same volume, except the sphere will have the smallest surface area. And so because the molecules are trying to pull together in the most compact form, it'll naturally go to the tightest area that they can while still holding the same amount of volume of air, a sphere. And I had assumed that gravity kind of worked the same way, where things would naturally just take the most compact form as they can, a sphere.
Makes
Oh,
sense to me.
it sounds good. It sounds really good. And that's the thing. There's a spectrum of answers that John could have given that, I would have had reason to doubt or not. Like he could have said, they're round because, aliens made them that way. And I would be like, oh, that doesn't sound right. And he goes a little bit further towards the answer he gave. It may be the best answer. I don't know. But,
Awesome.
Might be.
I'm
Sounds like a
glad
good
you
one to
found
me.
that satisfactory.
It definitely went past the spectrum of whether or not I could tell if it was a believable answer.
Okay, good. I mean that's my genuine. That'd be my genuine guess if I was on Jeopardy.
That would be a crazy Jeopardy answer.
So
If
All
that
right.
was like just the category, and then the answer was why are bubbles round?
yeah, I mean that'd be an essay to write out on the little what is. But yeah, so that's why bubbles are round. I know that's why bubbles are round. I don't know if that's why planets are round.
It's not. It's fractal. So yeah, we'll just go with it. It's a fractal
Yeah,
pattern.
we'll just say it's a fractal pattern going up to the
Yeah, yeah,
cosmos. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
It
yeah.
starts with bubbles though. It starts at the
Yeah,
smallest microcosm. Yeah,
of course.
naturally.
All right. Mitch, you finished it. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did like it. It reminds me a lot of when I was a youngster and I was making up games in my head, and I wasn't too concerned with why I moved on to the next thing. I just moved on to the next thing.
Mm.
It's like, okay, and then this is going to happen, and then this would be amazing if this happened, and so on. It's like a great game of pretend. But I feel like you said in your text earlier, John, that every line you could kind of dissect for days.
Yeah, I think I had said something like, I mean, I had highlighted that entire section in chapter 6 that Jason had shared, but he uses language in a way where you feel like you deeply understand what he's talking about. Like you can kind of feel it, but also if you try to think about it at all, it makes no sense at all.
You'll break
Something
it.
like, the earth is pulling me into its bosom and I just kind of want to kiss it. I don't really know what that means, but I felt that before.
It's a lucid dream. The minute you
Perhaps.
try to control it, you snap out of it.
And I that's great writing.
I agree.
Maybe it's
Where do
funny
we
though. You don't get a very strong sense of cohesion with it all.
with the overall story?
Yeah, it's just like, and then this thing happened, and then this thing happened, and sometimes I forget how he even transferred from one place to the next, or from
Yeah.
one
Then when you
interaction to the next.
go back and start over at the beginning, you're like, wait, all this happened here. It's just like a wandering. Yeah, it's just like a wandering through fairyland. But it
Have
feels
you
very,
finished
very.
it, right, John?
I did, yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I did.
Yeah, it feels very related to, especially the part we're going to go through. But the whole thing feels related to uh Percival. Sir Percival. Is that how you say it? Percival.
I thought it
I
was
don't know.
Percival.
Sir Percival. It feels very like art. Well, I don't know. He ties in so many different things, but there's like Arthurian elements to it as well. And the whole, I don't know. It feels kind of like the Green Knight movie, like we were talking about to me too. The the book does sort of, in a lot of ways. Maybe not completely, but I don't know. But yeah, it's got a weird. The whole thing's kind of strange because then he's got that weird story in the middle. I can't wait to get to that part. So Cosmo and the Magic Mirror.
Mhm.
That was good. I think we already tried that actually. We did an episode on magic mirrors where we tried to talk about it. But
Hmm.
how do you guys want to start this? How do you
Does
want to go
somebody
through
want to
it?
just do like a high level overview of what happens in chapter 6, and then we can get into more detail?
All right, one of you guys can do that if you want. But can I read this first? The
Yeah.
beginning part. It says, "Ah, let a man beware when his wishes fulfilled rain down upon him, and his happiness is unbounded. Thy red lips, like worms, travel over my cheek."
What's that nice song? He says it flooded when I prayed for rain. That's always the thing.
It flooded when I prayed for rain. I don't
Mm.
know.
I Lord, please send rain, and then it
Oh.
floods. Ah, this unbounded happiness. That
That's
that is
good.
a gross image with the lips like worms.
I
It is a
love
gross
that
Uh,
part.
image.
I don't know why. Like that
Traveling over
line,
your cheek,
that
the
line
uh,
is
region.
it's like a haunting, weird little phrase, and it's just yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that before you go into it? Just that line.
I don't
Nothing.
know. Mitch, what do you got?
Well, that's what I have in mind when I read this is that paradigm of it flooding when you pray for rain. It's some things will never change. I think about that when I pray for rain. So be careful what you wish for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Who wants to give an overview?
John does.
Sure.
He's pretty good at that. Better than I am.
Oh man, we'll see. All right, so we begin in the previous chapter. He found the lady in the alabaster, right? And he sings this wonderful song to her. And she wakes up and sprints out of the beautiful cave that he was in. And he goes out to chase her. And then he quickly loses his focus and he begins looking and thinking about other things, particularly when he hears a horse coming up behind him. And this guy is not given a name, right? He's just a knight.
Yeah, I think that's
no
right.
name. Yeah, no name. And he looks like he's been beaten in combat in a couple of ways. So he's got the white plume on his helmet was discolored and drooping. Even his horse is kind of walking with his head hanging. And so it's apparent that he wasn't just beaten in combat, but he was beaten on an emotional level. He's kind of given up. His spirit has fallen. And then he warns our protagonist about the maiden of the alder tree. And they have an interchange. And then our protagonist walks away thinking, now that I've been warned several times, I'm definitely on my guard and I'll be fine. So he continues into the woods and then he's looking around and then he thinks, oh, I called her out of this alabaster tomb with a song, so I'll bring her back through the same way. He sings her a song and then she appears. I'm not sure of the tune here. I was going to leave that one for Jason, actually.
The singing? All right.
Yeah.
If I must.
You must.
No.
The lyrics are right here, man.
The lyrics are right here. Not
Yeah,
a sound, the echoing in me
Yeah.
vibrates all around with a blind delight till it breaks on the
these would be. I don't like screamo, but I feel like these would be great screamo lyrics.
It might be. You're singing it really deep. Every tree.
Yeah.
There
Something like that, like the Hobbit song out of the Hobbit. You know that first one, the Misty Mountain song?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Something kind of like that. That's what I picture here.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's beside the point. So then he finds his white lady, and she, if I recall correctly, he begins to question a few things about her. Like there's a few off-putting things about their first interaction. And she said, oh, come back with me to my place. And so he does. And they walk to a cave and she says, go in before me, I'll follow. And then he did. And he lays down and she tells him a story. And then I'm trying to remember what is at the end of chapter 6 versus chapter 7. It was, I think he awakes, right? And the ash tree is standing there. And he realizes that he'd been trapped by the maid of the alder tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wakes and like she's ripping out her hair or something crazy, right? It sounds horrifying. Yeah, and the ash tree is there as well. Yeah, and then is it the same knight? Is that the one then that saves him here?
Yes, I believe so.
The ash tree. I think it's the same one.
Yes, and he hacks the ash tree.
And scares it away or something like that.
Yeah, she's pulling out her hair. That's right.
All right.
So that's the overview of chapter 6.
Do you guys got any thoughts?
Yeah, do you want to back up to the beginning of the chapter and kind of go a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, that sounds
Whatever
great to
jumped
me.
out to you guys.
Yeah. So let's see. Well, he mentioned this guy. I don't know, the whole thing's just fascinating to me. Let's see. The rays of the setting sun and riding as it were down the stream towards me. Trying to think. Oh no, that's right before it. So it's like the sun is setting, and then it says overflowed with a ruddy splendor to the open place where I was. So there's like a reddish hue already to the sunset, and then there's this horseman in red armor,
Mm,
like fiery,
yeah.
comes trotting along in the red sunset. So everything's kind of like red here, it seems like, and then it reminds him of the story of Sir Percival or Percival in his rusty armor. Um,
Is there a difference between rusty armor and red armor?
no, I think it's kind of the same. It's just like gives off that reddish, or like rusty as a color sort of
Okay,
thing.
that's kind of what I thought. I didn't know if there was any implications of it being rusty, like as in aged or weathered.
Could be too, because I think it was supposed to be kind of tarnished or whatever. Like
It was.
there was something where like, what is it? He says, yeah, after. I was really curious about this part. And this kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but the he talks about his armor and he says, "For see my armor, I put it off, and as it befell to him, so it has befallen to me. I that was proud and am humble now." Let me see. Wait. Oh, here. Yet is she terribly beautiful. Beware. Then this part. Never, he added, raising his hand, shall this armor be furbished, but by the blows of knightly encounter, until the last speck has disappeared from every spot where the battle axe and sword of evildoers or noble foes might fall. When I shall again lift my head and say to my squire, do thy duty once more and make this armor shine.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I didn't even know what to make of that. That's just kind of
You know
fascinating that
that
he just makes a flat out statement like this armor won't shine until I don't know what to I'm not sure if it's just fun play he's kind of getting at with his writing like this I'm not going to quit till the axe of evildoers is done or if he's actually saying like this is what this armor is made for this this rusty or this red armor.
well, this reminded me of the end, when he was traveling with that one night. And he talked about how he would repair his armor and like clean it and
mm,
stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's not the same guy.
I don't think so. Is that guy even in different armor too? Because that's what I was wondering. Because the story he reads before this, when he's reading about Sir Percival, it's like Sir Percival has red armor on, and Sir Galahad, I think, has silver or
Yes.
something like that. So
It's a
So
there's
this
like,
different
is
night.
supposed to be personal.
no, I don't think so. I think it just reminds him of him because the guy's wearing the same like red
I
kind
mean,
of
and
armor.
he brings up Percival too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does in the beginning. Yeah,
It's weird.
I think it is supposed to be him in like, gosh, like in his own story. Does that make sense? Like it's not Sir Percival, like the spirit of Sir Percival
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, embodied in another man, kind of like John the Baptist or sorry, Elijah in the John the Baptist or something like that. It's kind of what I think because even he
Speaking of,
says, sorry, go ahead.
after you,
No, I was just saying, like he even says, like, hast thou ever read the story of Sir Percival in the he shuddered here, that is our meringue, maiden of the alder tree. And it's like if you listen to the story of Sir Percival, he doesn't encounter an alder tree. Like he encounters a maiden that like he ends up like falling and stumbling over and stuff, this beautiful maiden, but it's not like an alder tree. So it's like this weird, it's like the same spirit is in the alder tree that's in the maiden and the Sir Percival story or something. It's like whatever that is. Sorry, what were you saying, Mitch? What were you gonna say? Before I interrupted you.
oh no, you didn't. Just the opposite. Oh no, it just reminded me of Zechariah, that bit where Joshua he has the filthy clothes, and then they're replaced with clean clothes.
Like the bronze armor with the silver armor or something.
No, it says like he has Joshua was dressed in filthy clothes, and he stood before the angel. The angel said to him, to those who are standing before him, take off his filthy clothes. And he said to Joshua, see, I've taken away your sin and will put on fine garments on you. And so the squire, the angelic squire, will make his armor shine, in the end. And until then, he's got to press forth in this gunky armor and do the best he can.
Yeah, I like that.
That's cool.
That's
But
good.
I knew this guy was prideful from the moment he showed up, man, because it said he had a morning star on his wrist. Like,
Does that always
I,
allude to that?
I use sometimes it's in a good context, right? Scripturally.
Yeah, well, because like it means, as far as I know, it means like Lucifer, right? Lucifer is the day star, the morning star. But then
Right.
in Revelation, Jesus says, "To those who overcome, I will give them the morning star."
So it's the reason to boast, maybe. And he has no reason to boast, but he's got this on his wrist, and now
Oh,
it's
that's good.
like something, it's like a badge of shame, you know.
Does yours have the morning star in like a different font?
It's
In
italicized.
italics, yeah,
Like,
mine
Yeah,
what's
too.
going on here?
mine's like
What is a morning star? Is it like a piece of jewelry or type of gem or something?
I don't know, but I think I like what you said about it though. It's like a reason to boast or something. It's like a badge of honor or something like that.
Well, it was intended to be, but then when he proved himself unworthy, it's just like a badge of shame.
Yeah,
Like, I still gotta wear this thing where I was supposed to be so great.
it's kind of like the "What would Jesus do" bracelet.
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's what it was.
No, I like that. I like that a lot, though. It glittered and glowed with its silver and bronze. Yeah. It's just weird, too. Like, I don't understand. Uh, I assume gosh, it's weird because I feel like even when George MacDonald isn't intentional, he's still spot on because he's writing from like intuition or something. So it's like even when he's not being really intentional with his writing, it's like he's writing from a place of like the subconscious or intuition or like this pure imagination where it's like the right thing. And he says silver and bronze, and it's like those colors mean something because he could have wrote gold, And it's like, but there's like a silver is like, the it's like the lesser gold. It's like because the sun is gold and the moon is silver, basically. So it's kind of like the reflection of glory, like the mirror of glory or something like that. And then bronze is like just kind of like fire. And same thing, kind of like it's related to the red too, I think, the whole ready thing going on here. But that's why I don't know, because it's interesting that the morning star glowed with its silver and bronze. I don't know.
I mean, that might be relative to the rest of him. I'd imagine that silver is really shiny compared to rust.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Just I don't know. It's interesting. Do you guys have anything else highlighted here or
So he says, lest the same evil in his kind overtake the singer that has befallen the night. So does that mean the maiden of the alder tree was a singer, one that was singing?
where wait, what was this in?
It's in the
The
first
second
real
paragraph.
paragraph,
Yeah.
of the 41. I'm ashamed, he said. That.
Okay. To appear at night in such the same evil overtake the singer that has befallen the night. Oh, I don't know.
I got
So
to be honest, Mitch, I didn't know either.
I'm
the bad
ashamed.
gal is a singer, but she doesn't really sing in this sequence, does she? Like, she tells him stories, but she doesn't do any singing. But it made me think again of the end with that woman
Oh,
that sung him out of the tower.
Oh,
But obviously, she was a good gal,
it
and
remind this reminded me when I was reading through of just a siren. I don't know why,
that makes
but
sense.
I
Yeah,
don't know. But he's very nothing else in the story really alludes to that idea. But I don't know why that. So why I don't. I don't know why that would make me think of that. So I mean, it's not like she's singing to him. He hasn't encountered any sirens, so I don't know. But you said there was a lady at the end that sang
Oh,
to him.
wait a minute. Thus the same evil, maybe it's a punctuation thing, in his kind. So he's talking about lest the same evil overtake the singer. So is he referring to the main character as the singer? Because he's saying
Oh, I see what you're saying.
because he's just
Oh,
singing around in the forest, singing the Marble Lady out.
that would probably make more sense. Yeah, that would
Yeah,
make more sense.
that makes more sense.
With an extra comma after singer, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, yeah, it would.
Yeah,
Come
okay.
on,
I think
George.
you're correct. We were warned by C.S. Lewis, though.
He's a bad writer.
It was
Yep,
better.
yep.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I
Yeah, it's
like
just
how confident well, confidence may be overstating it, but he says he's fully resolved that he will not be ensnared by any beauty, however beautiful. And he says, doubtless some one man may escape, and I shall be he. It's like some guy's got to escape. Why can't I be me? It's like the lottery player, Like, somebody's got to win this thing. I mean, almost like what else could he have done? I mean, he's going through the forest anyway. He's been told to beware. Okay, I'm not going to be ensnared.
yeah,
Like if you don't believe that you are not going to be ensnared, you're definitely going to be ensnared. So you might as well like have a little gumption, or maybe it was just the same kind of pride that the knight had. I don't know. He does start caterwauling to like, you know, call his marble lady back. Not being
He
very.
does.
That's a little careless.
Well, he
yeah.
moves. I had that highlighted because within like the span of 3 sentences, he goes from being so sure that he is well on his guard to just thinking about the forest again.
Hmm.
And what is what's the best way to fall into a trap than to think that you're doing a good job at not falling into a trap without actively looking for it, right? To think to it's the deceiver, like the best way to fall into a trap is to be confident that you'll never.
Yeah, so you're not watching.
That's
Yeah, and he's
true.
very single focused here, it seems like too. He's just looking
Yeah.
for his I went on into the wood hoping to find someone of its mysterious recesses, my lost lady of the marble. So he's like looking for her. I don't know, that's just kind of what it reminded me. Like even the um when you're actively looking for that, you're not, I don't know, you just it's just such a story that just like repeats itself all the time in life and in like so many other stories too. Like do you get what I'm talking about? Like the pleasures you're seeking, or you find this I don't want to like single it out to just a woman, but like you find the potentiality of like the feminine or something, and you're like, oh, I have this thing, this is my white lady, and then you pursue it, and then uh if it ends up being kind of a horror. Like it's that you end up finding the lady, and you don't find your white lady because you wouldn't. Not that you wouldn't be seeking her, but I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Uh, gosh, I don't know what I'm
No,
getting at.
I know what you mean. And
Like,
before you go searching for your white lady, you know the things to stay away from too.
yeah, like, gosh, I'm trying to think because I want to bring in the Green Knight a little bit too because it happens. I mean, there's stuff like that. That whole story feels related to this book in a way, but even like Parzival is like searching for the Holy Grail, and then you're like searching for nobility. You're trying to find this, the maiden you might win or something, and then he finds a maiden, and it ends up being this horrible seductress that just wants to take advantage of him, or something like that. And it's
This
and
is
it's like because you're looking for it,
Yeah.
because you're looking for it in a selfish way or something like that. So it's gonna find you out or something like that.
it's the woman in the basket, Jason.
This is wickedness. In Zechariah, you know that part, John? Where
It's been, yeah.
John,
and
guess
like
what happens?
these angels shove this woman in her basket or something, throw a lead disc on top of her. This is
Exactly. Well,
wickedness.
there's a basket with a
Yes.
lead lid, and they open
Yeah.
it up, and it says, in the basket there sat a woman. He said, "This is wickedness," and he pushed her back into the basket,
I
pushed his
love
lead
that.
cover down.
I love that.
Yeah, and carried her off to Babylon, I think.
Oh my
And they were
gosh.
to lay
What
the
a day.
foundation of Babylon. I'm like, man, Zechariah is just that's so profound. Man.
That's
What a
great.
day.
Um, yeah, there's a part. Yeah, so what I was saying earlier though, it's like right at the part we're at is like it was just like every single line. I'm just like, man, you could just sit and like his writing just like causes you. It doesn't cause you to, but it probably should cause you to actually sit and meditate on like almost every sentence. Like
Yeah.
great bats began to flit about with their own noiseless flight, seemingly purposeless because its objects are unseen. I'm just like, you could just sit there and think about that for, I don't know, just the implications of that are so cool.
Let's talk about that. What do you think of that, Jason?
Well, just like, I mean, even like things you're pursuing in life, like other people's don't see the same things as you. So they could think you're mad. Like you're doing the like or the mad prophet in the woods or something. They're like they
Yeah.
think this guy's absolutely crazy. He's just flying around like a mad bat or something like that. But it's like you don't know what he's chasing. He's like his objects are unseen. And so
That's what this guy looks like when he's sitting there singing in the woods, and nobody.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the monotonous music of the owl. Like, does it why did he put monotonous? Like he's intentional when he writes that. Like it's weird. Like you don't really realize it, I think, until you actually try to write it. Then you're like, why would you put monotonous? Like you chose that word. And so it's I don't know the reason. That's what I mean. It's like you could just sit with it for for a while.
It's because it's alliterative with music.
Because it's what
I'm
what?
just kidding.
Oh,
Then
monotonous music.
heightened all the harmonies.
He had a word count, Jason.
He did, all right.
That's what it
Monotonous.
was.
He just went back and added in a bunch of adjectives as many as he could.
It
Numberless
really,
unknown sounds out of the unknown dusk, but all are of twilight kind, oppressing the heart as with a condensed atmosphere of dreamy, undefiled love and longing. Golly.
give me a lifetime break, George.
I
What are you
know.
on about?
I know. It's crazy, man.
He really doesn't know where he's not paying attention to where he's, because he says Earth drew me towards it, her bosom, as you quoted earlier, and he says, "I forgot I was in fairyland. I thought I was just walking around on Earth." Which to Jason's always warning, know where you are.
Know where you
Oh,
are.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think I mean this whole section I highlighted a couple of words here. He walks through all the senses. So he starts off with music, and then he moves to the glowworms were lighting the path, and then he talks about the odors.
Oh.
So this seems like a very sensory experience, and monotonous music feels like a lulling to sleep almost. Um, he talks about darkness and night as something that is specifically in fairyland that's all encompassing. It kind of just wraps over you like a blanket, right? And that's when I read through this, that's kind of what I felt like was happening, was a sensory overload of twilight, dusk, and sleepiness was like slowly covering
That's
this guy.
good. That would explain monotonous too. Like everything is
Yeah.
working towards lulling
Yes.
him into a sense of being off guard.
Yes, that's kind of what I got from this.
Wow.
Everything working together. I was at a concert last week actually, and the opener was a saxophone, like a weird experimental saxophone guy.
What concert?
I saw the three members of Radiohead.
What?
Yeah. And it was a weird experimental saxophone guy, but he had these long songs where it's like 15 minutes, and it would sound kind of like just noise, like disjointed, kind of ugly, maybe monotonous noises, But then at the end, it all came together, and it was like one repeating sort of pattern that all had purpose over the end as it all built. And that's kind of what I got from this is everything is working together at the end to with a common goal of kind of, you know, taking him off of his guard.
Mm-hmm. Good insight.
Yeah, that's really good.
Have you ever wanted to fall down to earth and kiss it?
God, yes. I
Me
have.
too. Me too.
I don't know if I'm just being honest. Yeah. Yeah. Have you, Mitch? You're like weird. You haven't?
Okay. I love Earth as much as the next guy.
Oh, not in that way, not like a tree hugging way. I think it's some of it's I don't know, some of it's just because it's so beautiful sometimes. So surreal. Um, so peaceful. And then other times it's just sheer exhaustion too. You're just like, God. Like that one, I think the one of the lines that stuck out to me, it's near the end, and it's talking about the guy who raps with his staff on Mother Earth. Leave mother, let me in.
Yeah.
Or something. He's like
Yeah.
trying to get back to the grave. Let me back in, mother. Yeah. There's something so comforting and peaceful about like being in nature where I think I've been in moments like that where you're just like, man, you're just out walking and everything is just like this, basically. Just like almost like this, except not nighttime, but it's just so perfectly peaceful and calm and surreal. And you have like birds could be chirping, frogs, whatever, it doesn't matter, or it could just be still silence, but it's just like everything is just like right. And you're in the green chapel, you know, it's just like this holy, untouched, undefiled place. And yeah, you just wanna lay down and kiss her.
Give her a smooch.
Yeah. Give her a smooch. You've never done that, Mitch? Never kissed the ground?
Because when you're in that perfect place, Jason, when everything you said like everything is like perfect or very still or whatever, it's like in those moments when you're in the green chapel that you realize that it's not just a collection of things going right at once. It's like the true Mother Earth showing herself to you, right?
Mhm.
It's in those moments that you can see her in the fullest, and that's when you love it the most. I mean, as
Yeah.
a Christian, I think that's where those are the surreal moments where you I would call that something like awe,
Yeah.
maybe,
Uh-huh.
for the creator, like, you know, kind of like the silver, the reflection of the creator. Um, but yeah, how do you not feel drawn into the bosom of the earth then?
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I don't know how to describe it other than just everything's like perfect. And there's
I know
moments like
exactly
that.
what you mean.
Yeah. Like when I go out walking at that tree farm, like there's just certain times where you're just like, it literally, I don't know how to describe it other than just like you're just in the presence of angels. It's not fairies, it's like angels at that point. It's like it doesn't, like you forget, like he says even here, he forgot he was in fairyland. It's like if you were to pause and think about it, you're like everything is kind of, the whole earth is uh coming together to one end. What is he
Yes.
describes it somewhere here too, like it might have been the chapter before where like everything is consenting to some one end. Everything's kind of going to the telos, stretching upwards to God. And it's like at that point it's not um obscure, I don't know the right word. Uh it's not like obscure or ambiguous or anything. It doesn't feel like weird sort of mystical fairyland. It feels more like angelic or something, and it's like holy and reverent or something like that. Those times are really, really, really cool. Um,
And those are the times that make me believe in fairies.
yeah, yeah.
Here's
Well,
like
yeah, because
that's
you know they're still there or something. You know, like
yeah.
the spirits of yeah. But
It's because I've had those moments that this book actually makes sense to me.
yeah, yeah, that's good. So, what do you guys think of the lady when he meets her?
Wait, what about the song?
Oh wait,
Yeah, let's look at the song.
okay, let's do it. I already read some of it. Do we want to finish
I'll
it?
tell you what doesn't make sense. Not a sound, but echoing in me vibrates all around. I thought that is sound.
I
Hmm.
thought it was not a sound exterior of me, but from
Oh,
me is emanating a sound.
John knows.
I'm singing. I don't know. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that is. So then it vibrates all
And
around
I'll
within him
keep
till it
singing
breaks.
until it reaches her.
Till it breaks out throughout the night. Yeah. Huh.
The Queen of Night.
Every tree
If he
overshadowed.
had said Queen of Day, he would have gotten the right woman. But he said Queen of Night.
No, because the woman's veiled, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I think so.
I don't know. Queen
so.
of Night. Queen of Night is an interesting choice of words here. I don't know. I'll read through it though, so that way if we got it. Not a sound, but echoing in me, vibrates all around with a blind delight, till it breaks on thee, Queen of Night. Every tree, overshadowing with gloom, seems to cover thee, secret, dark, love stilled, in a holy room, silence filled. Let no moon creep up the heaven tonight. I, in darksome noon, walking hopefully, seek my shrouded light, grope for thee. Darker grow the borders of the dark, through the branches glow, from the roof above, star and diamond spark, light for love.
Now, what parts of this particularly strike you as very romantic? What do you think it is that really did it for him?
That did it for her? This
Yeah,
girl?
I mean, so
Oh,
he's
a good
singing
question.
a beckoning romantic song, but it's not
I don't think
explicitly that,
I
is
think
it?
I got the impression he could have said hello and she would have been after him.
Oh no, I think this was it.
But this isn't his white lady. This is the maiden of the alder tree.
Right. So, but he's he's trying to summon his lady, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And to do that, he's going to sing what kind of song? A romantic one, right?
Yeah.
But what
I
is
guess
this?
so I guess she her ear pricks up like she knows that he's out looking or something,
Just
seeking
wondering
her.
what was going on in
Sure.
his noggin. I guess Queen of Night, that's kind of sweet.
Queen of Night.
Everything inside me is like echoing for you. Just I have a delight, and I'm gonna persist in expressing that delight until it breaks on thee. But here's how I'm gonna express that delight that's rumbling around inside of me. Every
But
tree overshadowing with gloom seems to cover thee. Okay, so she's hidden from him. I'm upset that she's lost. Secret dark love stilled in a holy room, silence filled. That's where she is. I
let no
want things to
moon.
be dark.
Yeah,
Let no
it's kind of
moon
weird.
creep up to heaven tonight.
And
Because he's just gonna grope around for her in the dark.
dark some noon. It's kind of
I like
it's
that.
just twilight. Yeah.
I like the word.
Yeah.
I like when they add some on the end of something to make it like an adjective. Dark some.
Dark some.
Seek my shrouded light. What does that mean? Just he seeks the night, sort of.
So yeah, she's hidden. She's the light that's hidden, and he's
Yeah,
looking for
he's seeking.
the borders grow darker. The borders of the dark grow darker. Well, that's a bad situation.
It's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, the borders of through the branches glow from the roof above, star and diamond spark.
So the only really like sweet thing that he's saying is that she is the light.
And she is the light.
Yeah, and
Wait, how break that
that
down?
he desires her.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that. Break that down for me. So he's saying that he's groping through the night looking for her light. Is that what that means?
Yeah, she's the light that he's looking for, but she's shrouded, and he's desperate to find her. So I guess
Okay.
that's sweet.
Which is completely the opposite of being well on my guard and fully resolved.
Being
Right,
love
wishing things to be cloaked in
Groping
darkness
in the
so
dark.
that you can find something. That is terrible plan.
I don't give me a flashlight. No moon tonight.
Yeah.
I just want to grope in the dark till I find you. Well, maybe it's because he doesn't want any other light to be in the same room as her as the light. She's the only light.
That's what I was thinking was, you could abstract this out even to not just light and dark, but to he wants her to be the only thing that's noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the Queen of Night.
the opposite of everything that is else. So let everything else consume me so that you're the only thing that stands out.
So
Like a
look what
match in a
happened
dark
to
room.
him. He's walking through the woods, and he's resolved to not let anything enchant him. And then this chorus of nocturnal sounds just kind of close in on him, lull him into it. He kisses the earth, and then he's like singing this creepy song. He's on the dark side now. I think he thinks he's looking for his lady, but what he's actually is had a transformation of mind, and even while still saying that he's looking for the lady, he's actually looking for something wicked, and it's exactly what he gets.
Was that the lulling that made that happen?
It seems to be a part of it.
Or was
I don't.
that just the catalyst for something
It's his
that was
shadow,
already there?
right? It's his shadow.
Oh,
His
that's good.
shadow's gonna get the better of him
That's good.
when he puts his guard down.
Because
It
his
it
Mm.
it takes over and gets to sing this wicked summoning song instead
that's
of
good. Because
the song that cracked the lady out of the marble.
that's kind of the impression I got is it wasn't it's like the reason he's looking for like it's actually his shadow is the one who's looking for her. It's not his
Yeah,
because he because to actually get the white lady you wouldn't really want her for yourself in a way, you know? You wouldn't be he's seeking her in a selfish way or something. Like his shadow self is seeking her almost. Um and maybe wrong to say that, but I
No,
mean
you're right, Jason, because I mean I don't know where it is in here, but he mentions like, wouldn't she want to just thank the person that released her? Wouldn't she want to thank me? Wouldn't she want to kiss me?
yeah, and it's almost like he thinks he has a claim to her or something like that
Yeah.
because he released her or something. And he wants to be uh yeah, I don't know, her savior in a way or something like that, or he thinks he is in some sense. I don't know.
that's a good thought. But it's interesting that this is like sort of like a self-inflicted lullaby. Like I want to be in the dark, I want to be lulled. And the other one is all about waking up, the
Yeah,
one
so
that he
can
sings
I
to the marble lady.
Yeah.
um so here's what you guys think. I almost want that, but I feel like that was putting too much of a weird spin on it or a personal spin on that because um in that should I do a movie spoiler for you guys about Slumberland?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Well, anyways, so the chapter before this, right? He finds this the white lady, and I texted you guys something because I was like, oh, it's like the Shulamite woman,
Mm-hmm.
because he says something
Yeah.
about, or art thou death, O woman? For since I have set me, like he asks her if she's death, because there's like this, in the realms of sleep is the realms of imagination, and so in the dream world, like you can there's all the potentiality you could want, and it's pure imagination, like undefiled. You can go there, um, and then, but I don't know. So I was kind of thinking about that a little bit. That was kind of going on in the back of my head too. It's like you you can't have that. Like you can't just do that. Otherwise, you would just go kill yourself or something. It's like if you just wanted to, if you can't grab that for yourself. Like that
The
you'd end up in a
potentiality.
you'd end up in a nightmare if you were like, oh, this is what. So in the movie Slumberland, I don't know if I should I just ruin this or no. I probably shouldn't say anything. Okay, so I'll just relate it personally then. So if like you lose somebody or say like someone passes on, then you could go like the only way to see them again is in your dreams, basically. And you'd be lucky to do that. Like you can't really make up what you want to dream unless you maybe are really good at lucid dreaming, but then it's like form of necromancy, and then that's what I mean. It'd be to try to take that thing for yourself is going to get you in a lot of trouble. And so you're either going to engage in necromancy or you're going to kill yourself or try to just sleep your life away and fall into some sort of weird depression or something like that. Like I can only find my white lady in this place of this uh of these realms of imagination. And then if you're trying to force that, it's like it's not subject to your will. you know? So it's like I can't go conjure up something in does this even make sense what I'm saying
But
at all? I
are you
feel like
saying
I'm not
that's
making
what
sense.
he's trying to do?
I'm not saying that because I didn't want to make that projection on it. I was just saying like I wonder if that's because Mitch mentioned like he's almost kind of like wanting twilight, he's wanting night,
Yeah.
he's wanting sleep. So I was saying like that could maybe be a possible way of looking at it. Is that like uh I'm just saying that that could be like a personal interpretation. I'm not saying that's what's here, but you could see it that way maybe of like, oh, I've found this wonderful thing in my dreams. I just would rather inhabit dreams. Like that line I sent you, Mitch, the other day where I was like, this I didn't share. I wrote these lyrics and I didn't share them with the band because I was like, they're too sad. Like I don't want to play these things. Like I don't know what to do with them. But it was like, why have all the good things gone away to dreams? And that was kind of the line. And that was kind of rolling in my head for a long time. Like, why have all the good things gone away to dreams? Like my white lady, everything I want, everything I'm drawn towards is like out there in some dream world. And it's like, but if you were to actually pursue that, it wouldn't be in any sort of shalom. It wouldn't be in a rest, you know. You'd be kind of like have to perform some sort of witchcraft or make it subject to your will. And so like to actively pursue it and like to want to take it for yourself. If you looked at the white lady, I'm just saying this is just one way of looking at it. The white
Yeah.
lady is like the dream world or something, or the realms of sleep, and you could have her or something. And to go and say, okay, I that's gonna be mine now. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna have that lady for myself. It's like you're just gonna get a bunch of nightmares. You know. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I feel like I'm not.
Yeah, it conceptually, I'm with you. I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm with you
that's
too.
I
trying
don't nec-
to.
I don't think that's intentionally what he's getting at. Like I think I'm just saying like that could just be one application of it, I guess.
If we ride that train, it's interesting how he ends his song with the marble lady, because basically by the end of it, he says, "You know what? If you don't wake up, I'm just gonna die here." So he like has this removal of himself. Like I'm not gonna try to control this anymore. I'm just gonna die here. And he says everything, but words are vain. Reject them all. Uh, hear the depths from which they call the voiceless longing of my heart. So he like gives up his agency, and that's when she kind of comes to life. Um, I don't know. Yeah, conceptually I'm with you, but I think it's probably not as much what's going on here.
If there's something really like I feel like if there's something to what I'm saying at all, it's like in a
Don't do magic.
it's not quite not quite specifically related to this, but it's kind of like off in some weird other not I don't even know the right way to say it often because it just seems like when the previous chapter, right? So he goes into a cave, which is like a tomb. It's like a like the dove. Like I said that thing about the doves. His white lady is in the marble. It's a white lady in the cleft of the rock. In Song of Songs, he's calling to the Shulamite woman, which is kind of like peace, rest, death. And he says, "Oh, my dove, in the clefts of the rock, let me see your face, let you hear your voice." It's like a tomb. They buried people in caves in the clefts of the rock. Abraham buried his wife in a cave. So it's kind of like this weird, pure white spirit of the realms of death, like the lofty realms of death, where you are now in the bosom of the earth, in the bosom of your mother, and all the potentiality, all that stuff. It's like
Mm.
I'm just saying, like there's this interplay. Like I don't think that's directly related here, but I think if you wanted to look at it, there's probably maybe different gems to mine of like this interplay between life and death that you see working throughout all nature, like even in the plant life, all that stuff. And there's this perfect, like the Song of Solomon, there's this perfect back and forth between the king and this. And there's all this garden imagery in the Book of Song of Solomon too. And so it's like he
If
could
she's like,
you could get a glimpse of that with the white lady, and then now he's like, oh, I have to have that for myself. I've somehow called her forth from this sleep, and now she's awake. This spirit's awake, and she's out there somewhere, and I have to have her. And then I don't know. There's something there, and it's like I feel like I'm just scratching the edge of it, but I don't think that's necessarily what he's getting at. It just feels like there's something there, and I'm not quite sure what it is. But
like did she if she's I this just our symbol for death?
Gosh, I don't. Mm, peaceful death, shalom. You could maybe like that's what I'm when I'm talking
And
about
what does
Song
it
of
mean?
Songs.
But it's just if we're chasing it, what does it mean that he calls her to life and then she takes off?
If we're chasing this idea, like you're talking
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
about, I think it's in maybe an encounter, an interplay with that. I'm not quite. So there's this. Gosh, if you take the whole book as a whole, it seems like there's this. He's kind of seeking that in a way. Like even with the his shadow self comes out, and then he has to be humbled. He has to he has to encounter a death of his own ego before he actually can find um himself, much less like his white lady. He's never going to get his white lady until he dies to himself, type thing. And in a way, that's what she is, in a sense too. She's the partly the
Self-death.
death of himself. Yeah, that's going to call him to become a true man. That's going to kind of kill his shadow self, and then he's going
Okay.
to
So
rise
now he's
again.
chasing her, and in this chapter, what does he find instead?
His shadow
What
self, I guess. His shadow self is chasing her. Then he finds everything he doesn't want. It's like he finds
he
the
finds like a an unpeaceful death, like an unshalom death,
yeah, or
a
something where
troubled death.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, because if I was it's weird to put just death on it, because if I'm thinking about it, gosh, as just in nature, like death is life, like it's all the same thing. Does that make sense? Like it's not. And I think if you were to actually die in this world, if you were to actually die like plants do in nature, something like in Shalom, like if it was actually a peaceful death, then it wouldn't necessarily be like we normally think of death. It would be like you'd be your days would be complete. You'd be full of days, and you'd go to rest, and then your children would flourish. They'd grow, and I mean, in Christianity, who knows where you'd be? You could be watching down over them, looking after them, or something. Like it wouldn't be. It'd be like this, and then you would kind of live on through your children to the next generation and await the resurrection, or something like that. Like there's a absolute peace about it, and it's kind of a flow of life, a circle of life, right? Rather than just a death, just like, oh, I'm going to go to sleep and feel good about it. It's like almost this circular. Does that even make sense?
I'm tracking.
So that's kind of what I guess I'm talking about when I'm talking about like the Shulamite woman or the white lady or something. It's not, if it's like the spirit, if it is the spirit of death, it's not like a grim reaper death. It's like the life that gives itself so that more can live. Like a plant would. Like the tree would die, and then uh I was listening to something. I think it was probably Sherry today on Grail Country. She was talking about a tree that she had seen fallen, and then the same kinds of trees were growing out of that same tree. Like this tree had died, and now all this moss was growing on it and everything. And so it's like this tree had died, so and then yet other of the same tree could live and everything. Does that even make sense? Mitch, you're looking at me like I'm. Ah, I feel like I'm explaining myself terribly.
No, I'm tracking. Um,
I don't know.
I was initially when you were kind of boiling it down to she's symbolic for death, I was initially going to challenge that, but I think you explained yourself well. I understand. So you're saying it's not just a shalom with death; it's just shalom in general. It's like it's shalom with the cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like because if you read Song of Solomon, gosh, so do you guys? Mitch knows J.F. Martell, right? And do you know J.F. Martell? Weird Studies. Did I ever send you any of that stuff,
No, I
John?
do not.
Oh, well, I was taught last. I talked to him. I had him on my channel once, and I told him I want to talk to him again, but we were planning on talking about the Song of Songs, but because that's kind of been hitting me like all this year. Is like I used to think of the Shulamite woman as like, you could view it so many different ways, but then it's like shalom. Shulamite. And so it is this, and then you read the book and it's just like constant garden imagery and this back and forth between the king and whatever this lady is, this spirit, this I would almost say it's a spirit of death, but it's not like normal, not like normal people think of death. It's
Yeah.
maybe more an ancient way of thinking of death, like a cycle of life.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know that that's, like I'm saying, I don't think that's necessarily related to maybe what we're reading, but I was thinking maybe that's one way of looking at it because of the way he finds her in the tomb. It just reminded me of Song of Songs for some reason, reading it this time around. He finds her in a cave, and it's this like
It's
this
like the dance that they're doing.
yeah, in the whole book they're kind of doing this dance. He's chasing
Yeah.
after her, then he's don't touch me. You should not touch me. Like
Yeah.
there's this weird like there's this back and forth between the two where they're seeking each other, but they can't quite find each other. And in Song of Songs, it's kind of the same thing.
Is the "Don't Touch Me" lady that he meets first the same as the Marble lady?
Oh, this lady says don't touch me as well, I
This one.
think. But then
Oh,
there's
really?
but later on,
Yes.
I think it's the same thing. I think it's the idea of like there's a yeah, you can't grab it for yourself. Like you wouldn't there's like a purity and a holiness that like she needs to remain undefiled. So you don't reach out and grab. I mean, you don't do that to a woman anyway. You don't like
Death?
yeah. Do not stir up or awaken love until it pleases. You don't grab hold of it, you know?
What is it that's compelling to you about this idea?
About this idea? What do you mean?
Well, it's like I think we're all like, yeah, it's probably not what you're going for, but it's something that stuck out to you, and it's something that seems to be kind of a recurring theme for you.
Can I ask a more specific question first?
Yeah.
A point of clarity. Is it that you shouldn't grab it or that you can't?
I think I don't think you can. Yeah, I think ultimately
So
you
you
can't.
just destroy yourself in the process of trying.
Yeah. Because I mean if you're looking at um if you're looking at okay, so each one of us we could say like we're born on this earth and then as soon as we're born we begin dying.
Yeah.
And so what are we doing here? We're all trying to like people that even have NDEs, like near death experiences, like they'll talk about like wanting to come back to like just do something or clear things up or like they have these relationships that they've left like unsettled and they just want to get back so they can like resolve things so then they can die and rest so they can actually go so they're searching for that rest, that shalom, that shulamite woman. Like we're all kind of like even now it's like you kind of like if you think about oh am I actually ready to die, like even if you wanted to die or were depressed or something, it's like did you really leave something behind? Like did you not to be remembered by, but like did you do your work type thing? Like God put you here, did you get done what you needed to do before you can actually go to sleep and feel satisfied? Like can you actually go to rest in a peaceful rest? And so like we're all kind of seeking that, I think that
A pure death.
yeah. So what was your question? I lost your question again. Sorry, John.
No,
The
thanks.
specific question.
No. You answered it. I'll let you
Okay.
get back to Mitch's.
Oh,
Why are you interested?
um, yeah, why am I trying to apply it to this story? I think I don't know why I'm trying to apply it necessarily, other than I think when I read through it this time, looking at the white lady in the cave, it just kind of for some reason that stood out to me. I was like, oh, it's kind of like he's in a cave, kind of like, oh my dove in the clefts of the rock, let me see your face. That line in Song of Solomon's kind of stood out to me. I'm like, oh, this dove, this white dove, peaceful dove, sleeping in a cave. He's trying to call her forth. Let me see your face. Let me hear your voice. Like there's this singing going on in Song of Songs too. So it just kind of sparked me. And then I was like, oh, then it reminded me of the Shulamite thing. And then he even asked her, like, are you death? Like, is
Are you
that what
deaf?
you are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he asked her basically, are you the spirit of death? Um, So I don't know why. It just kind of brought it back to my attention, I guess. And I don't know why it's been. I can't really say specifically why it's been on my mind, or there just seems to be. I don't know. You kind of get something stirs up in in your thought patterns, and you just kind of go with it for a while. I don't know. Some people might say it's God speaking to you. I don't really know why. Some things just catch my attention for a while. And then a lot of times I think they're just personal, where I'm just like gathering information for more revelation on a specific thing. But for some reason, this one's kind of stood out to me, not all year, but maybe ever since I wrote that song. And then it kind of kept, like kept kind of coming around, like hitting me. And I'm like, oh, it's like the Shulamite woman, it's death, shalom, peace, rest, like all these things. Queen of Sheba, like 777. And I'm just like, God, it's everywhere.
And so all the great ladies and all the great stories are just somebody looking for peace. They're trying to woo this lady. If I could just have peace and I could die, then I could go to rest.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that, but it seemed like I think maybe because even like we
It's weird
say
that he wakes her up.
it's even what we call Mother Earth is like uh Mother Earth is like it's feminine. We want to, that's where you're going to go back to. You're going to be buried in a tomb, in a cave, in the grave, and it's like you're going back to this weird. When you return to that, you want it to be shalom, I guess. Yeah, it is weird that he wakes her up in the
Yeah,
story.
so
I
why
guess
was
is
she
he
sleeping?
Just because she's emblematic of death. It's
well,
like
I see. This is where I don't know. That's why I think it's just his white lady. Like, I don't think it's specifically referencing that per se. I think you could apply it to that. So when you go to sleep, like you go into the dream world. It's this you go into the
I
realms of
gotcha.
imagination. And so the feminine is potentiality. And so in the realms of imagination, in the realms of your dreams, there's like endless potentiality.
Gotcha.
It's this endless womb of this vast ocean, you could say. So I don't know if that's kind of I don't want to even apply that to the white lady, because the white lady just seems to be like he's just like it seems to me like he's almost freeing the imagination in a way, like he's trying to free his imagination, because like even the way he talks about words in one of his essays I read, it was like what was that line he said, the words, like poetry versus prose. It's like the poetic words, like in poetry it's kind of like it's closer to the pure thought, like because a word is just basically a body for a thought you're trying to get at. You're trying to put a thought you have into something that you can communicate to someone else. And he's saying the more you do that, the more it becomes prose, and it just uh the winged words, it just becomes like a clay brick, basically, is what he says in that essay. And so she's trapped in this marble form. So he's trying to free it back to the. I mean, there's so many different ways to look at it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, there's not. I don't really want to put
if
my
only
finger on it,
this
but you
were
could
Pilgrim's Progress, where he literally names every character exactly what they mean.
exactly what they mean.
This is
But
kind of Pilgrim's Progressy. It works a little better that way because it's sort of just like, and then he went here, and then he went here, and each person he met is some kind of you know allegorical figure uh, on Joe anybody's journey.
I've never read that. Can you say more?
Yeah, I've never read it either.
Oh well, I mean the protagonist is like named Christian, okay, and he'll like go and meet somebody named Despair or like Doubter or like
Oh, okay.
Oh,
everybody,
interesting.
and then he finally makes it. I think they call it the Celestial City. Which anyway, he's on his journey to heaven. He's on his journey through life, and he meets all of these friends and opponents who have very obvious names, so that you don't have to have hours long Zoom calls about what in the world it could
Gotcha.
mean. But so death or imagination, we don't know. She's called the White Lady. Uh,
Yeah, well, because you all like, I feel like that's the perfect way to put it too, and I feel like that's why, because he's getting back to the more, I don't even, ancient's not the right word, just the pure essence of what she is. She's just the white lady. She's his white lady, and so it's like everybody has that. Like you can imagine that you have this. I mean, it's white, it's pure, it's untouched, it's undefiled, it's the virgin lady. It's what it's the ideal
And
feminine,
you sang to
basically
it
that
to
you're
wake it up.
pursuing. Yeah, yeah.
It's
And then
still
she
weird.
gets up and flees away from him.
Yeah, it's super weird. And
Yeah.
then somebody pretends to be her.
Yeah. The seductress. This reminds me of Proverbs. The seductress who flatters with her words.
Yeah, but she's very antichrist because she acts like it's weird when they're like, you know, she says, "Come and see." It's that
Ah,
kind of
that stuck out
biblical
to you
language.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that stuck out to me. Come and see.
she's trouble. And when it's describing what she was, she began and told me a strange tale, which likewise I cannot recollect, but which at every turn and every pause somehow or other fixed my eyes and thoughts upon her extreme beauty, seeming always to culminate in something that had a relation revealed or hidden, but always operative with her own loveliness. That when I read that, I was like, oh, that's like the experience one has with scripture, you know. It feels like the experience a Christian has with scripture. It's so
It's always operative with her own loveliness.
maniacal that it's kind of used to seduce him.
Wait, say more about that. Someone
I
has
don't know.
that
When I read
experience
that,
with
I think I
scripture.
sent that to you guys because I was like, wow, this is a beautiful way to describe. Uh, it just felt resonant with my experience with the Bible. Like everything culminates in something that's relative to the other thing,
Oh,
and
okay.
sometimes it's obvious, and sometimes it's not.
Like the
But
hyperlink
it's yeah,
or no.
that it all relates to each other, that it all relates to Christ, and that sometimes it's obvious and sometimes it's hidden, but no matter if it's revealed or hidden, it's always operative with the Lord's goodness and his
Mm,
loveliness.
yeah.
It's like a really good way to describe that. But here it's it's something nefarious, so it's kind of
But it's so close to what it is.
hmm hmm
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's why I feel like this is so relatable because it's like it's so close to the, yeah, it's so like the white lady, except there's these little things.
hmm
And the one
But
part that really stood out to me is he said, where was it? He said that it was uh where am I looking at? I think I'm off here. Yeah, I am. Oh, I drew close to her, looking for the beauty of her face, which indeed I found too plenteous. A cold
mm,
shiver ran through me, but I said, it is the marble,
it's a marvel.
and heeded it not. But I like that part where he says like the the beauty was too plenteous, like too plenteously he found
Yeah,
it.
it's
Like there's
quiet, too
too
quiet.
much, there's too
Can't
much
actually be
beauty in it.
safe.
Yeah, yeah. Like when you look at the moon, it's like there's impurities to it. Like it's not, you know what I mean? It's like we the moon, we find it like so peaceful and beautiful, but when you look at it, it's like got all these spots and everything. Like
So how
it's
does
not.
that how does that fit in with the framework of what you were talking about, Jason?
It doesn't.
What do you mean, the white lady?
No, the fact that once he sees her, uh, what he thinks is her, she's she's more beautiful than he even thought, and it's scary.
How does that?
How does that work with your framework that you were talking
Because
about?
you don't ultimately want that, right? You don't want something. I mean, I think you want.
If it is shalom in the cycle of
Oh,
life,
I see what you're saying with relating it
yeah,
directly to that.
yeah.
Wait, that. But this isn't.
This is not shalom. This is anti-shalom.
Oh, right.
There's like no, because if it's too plenteous, if it's like too perfect or something, then it's like there's no more mystery. What was it? They were, God, it was in that 4 hour long conversation that they had on Grail Country the other day. Someone said that they said it like perfectly. They were saying something how it was probably Tyler. We said it. It's like gosh, when it's if you for our concept of perfect, then um there's still something missing, and it's change
Mm.
or something like that. So it's like if the beauty is like perfect or complete, it's like it lacks one thing, and it lacks the ability to change or something like that. Mitch
Interesting.
shrugged his shoulders. What does that mean? What do you mean? No,
It's just not obvious to me that that's the case. I mean, it makes a lot of
it may.
sense.
I mean, it might not be. Well, we'll go on. Say more about it. It's not
Well, we've
obvious.
talked about it before. You know, it's just like, I'm willing to believe that there, and probably we could think of examples of things that don't change that we're very glad don't change. That uh, their beauty is that they don't change. You know.
Is that they don't change, like truth, like God. Well, yeah, you have to have something like that, right? Because that's what we think of.
So I think you can have an unchanging thing that is perfect. As all.
Yeah. What do I? This is a tangent, I guess, but I like this tangent anyway. I like going down this rabbit hole with you, even though we've been down there many times. Because I don't know, I'd like it too. Because I think even with the idea of truth, that's why I probably come across people the wrong way when I talk about truth, because I don't think I ever really properly get across what I'm trying to convey. But I'm like, you have to truth in regards to trust. Like you have to have something unchanging to be able to trust it, right? And then you have to have
But
trust, to have faith, to have hope, to have a relationship. You have
yeah,
to have
the
trust.
King Daisy is what you have to have King Daisy to measure the other daisies
Uh,
against it.
but the thing with love is like you can always trust love, but love changes. Like it's weird. That's the weirdest thing with love. It's like love is forever unchanging, but it's because of its nature, it will change to include.
Then
You
it's
know what
not
I mean?
unchanging.
Yeah, it's not because but like love dies of itself. So it like it never changes, but it like did this weird. I don't know what it is. Like it's the weirdest
The
thing, but it
change is
seems to
part of the
change.
non-change. The cycle is the
Yeah,
same. The
yeah,
cycle of change is always the same.
something like that. I don't know. Anyways, sorry, it's not obvious to you that change. I don't know. It's just kind of my thought
That's
is like
that
this,
was they explain my shrug. I mean, I it makes sense to me when somebody says that, but
but there's this weird. No, I think you're right to have that though, because only Sith deals in absolutes, so we don't want to make any of
you
those
know,
things.
this lady, she is so devious, man. It's like in the movie where it's like you're like pulling your hair at the protagonist because they're giving all the answers. He's like, "It's my white lady." She's like, "It is your white lady." And he's like, "Why did you run away from me?" And she's like, did
Did
I?
I?
What was I thinking?"
I did. Yeah, it's exactly what happened. Oh man. You know what she says? Come to my grotto.
Mm.
What's that about? Like it's just a weird word to use. I don't experience many grottos. What is that
She's like the
exactly?
alien that came down on the planet to steal the human. She's like, "Come to my you know, just use the wrong word." They read it out of an encyclopedia or something.
Didn't you mean the alabaster cave where the
Yes.
spirit of marble exists? Oh yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Come
It's a
to my
cave. A
grotto.
grotto is a cave, a small,
Okay.
picturesque cave,
Picturesque.
especially an artificial one in a park or a garden.
Oh, intriguing.
I really liked that. I had this highlighted that he looked at her face and it was too beautiful. Um, and then he said, "Yeah, if I had confessed it, there was something either in the sound of the voice, although it seemed sweetness itself, or else this yielding which awaited no gradation of gentle approaches. It did not vibrate harmoniously with the beat of my inward music."
Mm,
And that's the way
That's
that he
good.
characterizes
it's like the song.
that gut feeling.
Mhm. I also like that when they get to the entrance of the where they're going in.
Mhm.
She makes him like open it up for him. It's like he has to be the one to let her in. ultimately. It's like she can't go in on her own accord.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think about that?
It's just my rearing, probably with like the demons can't come in unless you invite them.
No, you're probably right though. I mean, I think there's probably something to that.
I think Mitch, you pointed this out a long time ago, but I mean that follows the same pattern where in the first song he eventually awakens her by giving up his authority or his autonomy. And then
Here,
same in the second, and she comes back to him, and then it's just the same pattern for a third time.
hmm.
Then the rose glasses. Seeing that gets repeated. What is it?
Yeah,
Either it was glimmering with a pale rosy light, and there's a rosy flame inside and a rose lamp. This
Yeah, that's
this
cool.
pink, it's pink glow or something.
Oh yeah, and when he says, "I listened till she and I were blended with the tale, till she and I were the whole history." It's all this centering around
Yeah,
himself that's
and
troubling
so
for him.
yeah,
Um,
that line reminded me of something I wrote like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I almost sent it to you guys, but I actually titled it. It's probably this probably got in my subconscious or something because I actually titled it "The Rose Lady" or something, but it was basically kind of going off that deal like this lady in red or something like that. Um, I can send it to you guys later, but it seemed very similar to that one specific line you just mentioned of that what does it say? She and I were the whole history. Like everything is centered around around them, or something like that. Hmm.
yeah, you should send it.
yeah, please
I
do.
can do that. I would read it here, but it's actually a lot longer than I thought it was. Yeah, I can send it to you guys. I don't know if it's any good, but it reminded me of it though.
So I can't remember. Ash tree is bad, right?
What
Yes.
yeah, the ash tree's bad.
The alder tree is good.
The alder tree's bad, right? Because this is the maiden of the alder tree. The ash tree
Okay,
Are
seems
they
to be masculine for some reason, right? It's the one with the vampire thing he encountered with the knobby fingers.
are they both bad?
The alder tree is bad. This is the maiden of the alder.
Is is the ash tree bad then?
they're
I thought
both
Yeah, I
the
think
bad.
one
so. They
oh
said
they're both bad.
I
Okay.
think they
It's like they're the
gave him a
same.
warning about the didn't he give the who gave him
That
a
was the
warning?
first big spook was the ash tree, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That
thought
was
so.
at the house, but
Yeah.
the alder tree, I guess. Um, this part had some Green Knight kind of vibes too, because he lost that beach leaf girdle, like it's like the green sash in Green Knight,
Yeah.
and it's like his one defense. He calls it that. Well, I don't know what he's talking about exactly here when he says my only availing defense.
Because she gives it to him, right? What is that? Where is it? Let me find
Is
the
this sort of a
chapter.
Garden of Eden kind of thing? So you realize he's naked or something.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Let's see. I cannot cut your beautiful hair. Let's see, wait. But now I must tie some of my hair about you, and then the ash will not touch you. Here, cut some off. You men have strange cutting things about you. So that's when he met the beech tree, and she gave him the girdle
Hmm.
as a
So
protection from the
that
ash.
was just like right in there with Green Knight.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys have for that? Like, what's the symbol? That's the one thing I don't have. I mean, I feel like this whole night I've been just kind of talking buffoonery anyway, but that's something I
Eh.
definitely don't have. Like, uh, I don't really understand I guess the symbolism of that. Like, why is that a theme? Because I think that's a theme in like Arthurian legends too. Like the knight would, I mean, I think that's just something they did back then too. When knights would joust, they'd joust for a lady and she would give him a sash to wear around his waist.
Hmm.
I don't know why. What does that even? Come on.
That's the waist belt of truth, man.
Okay. What would you call that? A girdle? What do you call it? A sash?
So remember in the green, I don't want to spoil things for John. Never mind.
That's okay.
No, don't
Okay,
don't
then try
spoil
not
it.
to.
Don't spoil it.
No.
He's got to watch it.
I'll work around it.
Got to work around it. Talk about Parsifal.
But I will say, like, the green, why? So the green, lust is red, right? And green is what lust leaves behind.
Oh, you're talking about the monologue, the green monologue.
Where they kind of do their
Oh yeah,
lit class explanation of.
that part's so good. You could probably read that because that part John should.
Well, no,
He'll
yeah, that's
probably
why I'm
rewind
bringing
it.
this part. I skipped the part that's a spoiler, but
But you
that
could read the
line, she says
monologue.
it. I don't have the monologue with me, but I know
Yeah,
that red is lust and green is what lust leaves behind. Green is envy. It's what's left when ardor fades. When passion dies, when we die too.
green is
So,
envy. It's
but
what
then why would the green be a protective thing? Because the green sash is the protective.
green always. I mean, it seems like there's always this dual aspect of it, though, right? That's
Green is growth. It's fertility.
yeah, but it's also mold.
Yeah, it's
That's
decay as
kind of
well.
yeah, it's death. Uh, and it's because it's on like the corpse and everything. It's
Mhm.
always and it's envy and it's greed. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Here, it's just the color of the thing.
It's the color of life, right? It's the color of. What do you mean here? Where are we looking at it? The sash? We're
Just
looking at the
messing around.
green sash with the hair? Is that what you're talking about? Or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But now a pale greenish hue in the light of morning. I put my hand to my waist and found that indeed my girdle of beech leaves was gone.
What happened to it? Did he just now realize it, or did it say he
I
lost it?
wondered if this was supposed to be some kind of sexual encounter in the end or something.
It could have been.
Maybe. And that's when she took his girdle.
I don't know. It just occurred to me in the scene. I was like, well, maybe it's like that was the nature of his.
Is that the symbolism of it? Is you take this girdle from a woman, so you're kind of like that you would have to take it off in order to betray her honor or something like that?
That's a good thought. And that is
Okay.
I'm
She
shutting
didn't
my
see
eyes.
that.
Yeah, spell it out in
We
letters.
put
I won't be able to figure it out.
subtitles up.
we'll talk later. What language do we know that John doesn't know? The
Speak
answer is
Latin.
0. John knows 6 languages and we only know English.
Ah, shoot.
We know the language of love. John
Kind of
doesn't
reminds
know
me
That's
of
right,
the.
John doesn't know that.
Yeah. Kind of like Samson.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. It just
Was the signature of the
that's actually
covenant.
really interesting. The Samson parallel. Because that happens again in gosh, in what Hezekiah? It's the same story as Samson. Yeah.
The hair?
No, but the gosh, it's the same. It's like the same spirit. Like this maiden of the alder tree is like that the seductress that flatters with her words, like you see in Proverbs and everything. And it's like it's the it's the yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like we were talking about with like the same thing with Christ and Antichrist. It's like whatever this is, it's like a hair's breadth away from the thing you want. And you're seeking it, and then it's a seductress and she deceives you, and then you're trapped and bound, and she's plucked out your eyes and she's sucking the life out of you. And it's like that's what happens to Samson. He gets his eyes plucked out, and then no, not Hezekiah. What am I saying? It's well, no, it is kind of the same because Hezekiah lets him in. He lets in Delilah, basically. Because Samson, in the story of Samson, he takes Delilah and he opens up his heart to her. Basically, he tells her all his heart, and then that's when
Hmm.
she takes his eyes and binds him. And then Hezekiah, whenever he's sick and near death, he prays for his healing. And then I think it says maybe it's in one of the because there's Chronicles, Kings, and Isaiah. It talks about him, and I think in one of them it says, "In his latter days, his heart's lifted up with pride." But then after he gets well, these people from Babylon sends him gifts and everything, and it says that he opens up all the storehouses, all his treasuries, his whole house, and he basically opens up his heart to him and shows him everything. And then it's weird, and God says, because you've done this, like your kids are gonna die basically and suffer. And then his kids later on, Babylon comes back, and the king of Babylon plucks out his son's eyes, like same as Samson. It's really strange.
Interesting.
And so he's like letting in the spirit of Babylon or something into his household, and then it comes back and takes his eyes like Delilah does and carries him off away in chains, just like Samson. He's bound in chains and carried away.
Is it cold out there?
Yeah, sort of. I got a little heater out here anyway.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah. Or you asked
You
just
know, I think
curious.
heaters are haunted. You know,
Heaters are haunted.
can you show it to me? Is it too much trouble?
No, I can show it to you. They're haunted?
Yeah, I had a lot of bad experiences with the heater.
Well, it's probably not gonna. Let me
Oh,
see if I can press
Yeah,
that
on the
one's a
I have
bottom.
one
scary
too.
one. That is
That is
an
scary.
evil heater. Okay, that one will talk to you. Do not sleep in the room with it at night. But
It'll talk to you?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta try it. I don't put it on at night because I'm sleeping inside usually, but
That's good.
I
That's
really
good.
want to try it. What do you mean it'll talk to
No,
me?
no, don't.
Oh, what does it say?
Don't.
What does it say?
Yeah,
I'm
what
so
did you
curious
hear?
though.
Oh, I had a lot of weird childhood memories of a space heater looking like a evil face, and I had a lot of recurring childhood nightmares because of my space heater. Weirdly.
We have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's do it right now. That's what we're here for. I'm my interest is like
I did too. So I mean,
so
That's so
because they
weird.
have a face type feature, and then when they're turned on, they're like they have the fire, which is like sort of just an energy that's alive. What do you think
Yeah.
it is that makes you
Did yours turn?
anthropomorphize it? No. So that's an extra
Mine
element
would
of
pivot.
animation too. No,
Uh
I wish I had it with me. Well, it's a long story, but
so what was it about it? I see mine had a one red light in the center.
okay.
And so I
Mine
thought of it
is
as kind of
closer
like a
to Jason.
cyclops almost.
Okay.
It didn't look like any face that I had
That's
seen.
really interesting. It's something so different from the one that mine is, but yeah, okay, that's so cool.
it's like
Was it with you in your room usually?
It
or-
was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't remember. I doubt it was on all night long. I know they have a setting where they can kick on if they're at a certain temperature or
Mhm.
something like that. And I think mine was probably one of those. So it's one of those things where it would just kick on to life. And kind of like this, it was a sensory overload. You had the little red light. You had the sound, the motion, all in an instant, right?
Yeah. Did it talk to you?
No, I don't think so. But I never liked it being there.
tell me this, Mitch. What did the heater say? I have
Yeah,
to know.
yeah. What did your heater
What
tell
is
you?
So
My
much.
heater never talked.
Open up
It
to
was
us
my
here.
great grandparents' heater, and it
Oh,
stayed
that's
usually in their bathroom. And but it was like from the 80s. It was like a Markel brand heater, and it had like an iron grate on the front of it, and it had like this coil bar in the middle that was what heated up and glowed orange. And yeah, I mean, it just it would tell me horrible things.
Well,
But
tell
when
me
my
some. Guys, I
great
gotta know.
grandfather perished, um, everybody was kind of getting a token, from him. And I was like, I know exactly what I want. He had like a little workshop, and I went out there and looked around and I finally found it, because they had replaced it. from in the house. I hadn't seen it in years. I was like, this is the one. Because I had already started writing for my senior project in college, like a play about the heater.
What did it tell you?
It's just terrible things, man. Terrible things.
Go, open up. You have to
Yeah,
tell us.
you
Yeah.
have to say
Oh my
one.
goodness. What did it say? Terrible.
Anyway, I kept it until I used it until 2016, 2017, 2016 really, and then it finally perished.
If it told you
Uh,
terrible things, why did you use it?
Um, well, yeah, I am your white lady, you know?
The
Oh,
heater? The
Did I
heater?
run away from you? I forgot about that. You should come to my grotto.
It's comforting, right?
Yeah, you would think so. And that's the thing about it. It's like what's comforting and scary at the same time? A space heater, news. The news is like that. Lots of things.
interesting.
No, keep talking about this. This is great. You're on fire right now.
That's it.
My-
That's
No,
it.
Mine
no,
is
no,
way
it's
less
good.
interesting. I didn't hear anything from mine,
Yeah,
but it was
but
scary.
even what you're talking about now, comforting and terrifying at the same
Can
time.
you think of more things like that?
No,
You're
I don't
comforting
know,
and scary at the same
but
time.
the fact that you pulled the news out too was pretty
Well, that's
good.
the thing. It's like when
That's
you're
really
listening to
interesting.
NPR, you're like in your car and you're like, it's like a bombing happened today, and you're just like, you know, it's like what it's saying is terrifying, but its manner is,
I think the comfort is in the knowing, right? Things are
oh,
the most scary when
maybe.
they're unknown.
I always thought it was just in the monotonous music of it.
Hmm.
It's like they talk and they're there, and it's the same voices, and they play jazz in between the stories.
Oh my God, this experience you had with this heater is amazing. You
I
definitely need
know.
to write a book on it. You should write it in Fairyland.
Well, I have a full-length play about it, and I have a full-length
What?
screenplay about it.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and we're gonna read aloud from it right now. If you look under your chair, I've taped a copy.
Oh man. Yeah, mine never talked to me.
But
That's so
you had
interesting.
this fear of it. It was just, but you were anthropomorphizing it because you said it had this sort of cyborg thing going on. So.
Yeah, definitely. I remember being terrified of it.
But it's like,
Um,
well, what in the world is it gonna do to you? You didn't think about that. You just were scared of it.
I mean, I haven't thought about this in years. I haven't thought about this since I was
Well,
probably
the
6
crazy
years
thing
old.
is, I was talking to my brother about. Sorry to my brother for saying this, but yeah, he was like, yeah, I would converse with it too. I had a name for it.
Would you talk
That's
out loud
really
to it?
interesting.
Of course. But did you guys have
Of course. The
imaginary?
way he just breezes over these things.
Yeah,
Of
naturally.
course. Yeah.
Well, did you guys have imaginary friends as kids? Of course you did, right?
Not that I remember. I have a
Not that
terrible
I
memory
remember
though.
either.
That's continues to surprise me when you say it, Jason.
I really don't remember. I don't remember having that. I remember playing outside a lot when I was a kid and
What were you
having my
doing?
cousins around, climbing trees, things like that.
That's
I
not
lived
fun.
with I lived with a lot of my cousins though, like when we lived in Florida. So like my neighbors were family, so like we
But you
were
weren't like to have sword fights with thin air kind of guy.
no, because we probably had sword fights with my cousins or something. If we did.
I'm sure you did
We
that,
played in the
Jason.
mud a lot. I mean, did we
But was
used
the
our
mud ever something besides mud? Was the tree ever like a skyscraper you were gonna save a kid up there?
I mean,
Burning building.
I'm sure there were some things. The only thing I specifically remember is and this wasn't like a friend or anything, but it was the bull with the golden eye. Because there was this shed across the fence and it had a hole in it. And so there was a bull with the
That's
golden
it.
eye. And it was looking through there. It's just a monster over the wall, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah. But it's
Everybody's got a childhood monster.
yeah, but that's the only thing I remember. I don't remember much. Like even in the signal chat, I was talking about this earlier. Like it's people talk about their first memory, and I'm like, I don't remember my first memory. Uh,
Are you characterizing an imaginary friend? So I don't know if I actually had that. I certainly imagined things, but are you characterizing an imaginary friend as like a human being in your imagination that you actually interact with, talk to,
I'd be
Yeah, that's
close.
what I mean.
see on a recurring basis?
Yeah, or at least have a vision for in in your brain. I've
Do you
seen
have one
I've
of those?
seen it.
Have you ever had that, John?
No, it sounds like a haunting to me.
Have you ever had one?
Well, no, because you're aware that you were conjuring it.
Yeah, no, I
Right?
never did that as a kid.
I don't know that you are though. I remember Caitlin when she was younger. It freaked me out, and now I don't. I'm like, man, it shouldn't have freaked me out at all. But she would always talk about, gosh, what was her name? It was strange too because like nobody gave her this name. This thing just had a name, and it was like, where did she learn this name? It was like I can't remember. It's Lola or something like that. It was like this weird name that like nobody would have told her, but she would always
Mhm.
talk about. I mean, it's just before she was like 4 or something. Like she was really little, and it was always she always had this friend with her, Lola. And then like she could, if like it'd be like, oh no, Lola told me this, Lola did this, Lola did that, and it was just like it was extremely real to her, like this imaginary friend, where it like kind of freaked me out. I was like, what is going on here? Like she definitely is interacting with something, and it's not conjured. It wasn't like conjured up. I don't think she just made it up. It was like actually there in her imagination, like this friend. And I think it was just a friend. I don't know if it was a. I mean, I don't think it was evil at all. It was, but it
Well,
it does have this weird vibe to it where it's like I don't know that I would have called it an angel either. Like I don't think it's probably just some sort of.
yeah. Well, I'm not saying that hauntings don't happen, but it's a totally different thing, right?
Are you saying that? Are you equating imaginary friends with your heater? Is that what it was?
That one maybe that one's a harder. That one's a blurrier line.
Did you think it was real? Like it wasn't just. I mean,
No,
I
it's a
I
blurrier line.
I consider the imaginary real. Like it wasn't like you were just like that where George McDonald makes the difference between fancy and imagination. You weren't just like making it up out of fancy or something. Like it was actually because why would you want to make something like that up? Like there's not really a. It's
I
not like
do
you're
think it
willing
was
it.
something that I was projecting from in me,
Hmm.
but it's like it's one of those things where at some point, push aside the branches, make room for us to enter, and then the projections get crazier.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. But do you ever think it's projecting back? Like there's this maybe weird mirroring thing, or like you're maybe projecting out and it's kind of calling you or something? Or do you think
What
that
I think
happens
is
later?
the way I try to understand it is okay, electricity is powering the heater, right? Okay, but the electricity is spiritual.
Hmm. There's like a spirit to electricity.
The electricity is spiritual.
All right. All right. That's all you're gonna say. I got it.
Do you
I'm
have it
not.
though?
I'm
I
not
don't think
quite
I
there.
do. I don't think I do.
I'm more confused than you said the same thing twice.
I know. I know. I know. I know. I think I'm more inclined to have imaginary friends now than, but I
Mm,
don't. I don't think they're like that's what I
you
mean when
grew
I
into
say
them.
imaginary. I don't think they're. I the way I would actually interact with them uh is not of my own will, if that makes sense. Like, and
Well,
I can't grab
you're out
them.
there talking to the moon most nights. I mean,
I can't. I can talk to the mood. Well, the mood's actually there too. Like, trying to think of an example. Like I don't know. There's just like certain things where like, and then if something came up in your head, you can't just conjure it up. Like it's not a conjuring or something like that. I don't know if
Hey
that even
Mitch,
makes sense.
what was the brand of the heater?
Markel.
Mark. Oh, you know the brand. Is that his name? Is that what you called him
That's a
when you
good
No,
talked to
name.
no,
him? Markel.
that wasn't his name. That was my brother's name for him.
My grandma had one of these.
Yeah, it's a great issue. I see them every now and then. I'm like sometimes in like hardware stores and stuff, just not for sale, just like the the owners of the hardware stores are using. Yes, that's close to the exact model.
Oh, so that's
The
kind
one
of
to
similar to
immediately,
mine.
the one up and to
This
the
one?
right. Oh no no no!
Oh, that definitely
That one,
looks
that
like
one.
something. I would
That's
talk to
the
that.
one. That's the exact one.
Oh yeah. You know, that there definitely is a spirit
Wow.
with that.
You should see it lit up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a furnace, right? It's a prison. It's a fiery prison. That's what
It
it looks
looks
like
like
to me. It does look pretty evil. It's a cage.
it looks like one of those fencing masks to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Which those are pretty scary too.
$80. That's good to know.
Yeah, that is pretty. That's kind of haunting right
Why
there.
you're
I don't
you're
know
in the
why.
market? See, I
No,
think
I
if
still
I
have
had
mine, but it doesn't work right now.
if
Oh,
I
you
had
need to fix that.
heard horrible things from my heater, I probably would never want to talk to it again.
Well,
That's really interesting. It's fascinating. Did it?
uh,
Was it like in dreams, and then you'd wake up and talk to it, or was it like, uh,
no, waking states. But
Of course, Jason.
this is just
but
sorry,
Jason, you
yeah.
were saying that the imaginary friend that you conceptualize now would not be something that you had conjured.
No, so I could just say, so there was the first encounter I think I had was like it was so basically I would describe it as maybe kind of like a fairy or something, but it was in a dream, and then I haven't like it's not even like a will like if I tried to willingly engage that whatever this spirit or something is, it would just leave. And if I try to write about it, it get like it. I've written about it because it was whenever I was trying to explore the imagination more, and like I was actually trying to go like encounter that realm and be honest about it, and not try to make something up, but more explore and discover, I guess. What is I think he even says the same thing in this book somewhere weird where he says when he's talking about is it like the guy who sculpts the marble that he says he sees there? Uh gosh, what does he say? It's like he's waiting rather than trying to gosh, I can't remember what's chapter 5. Let me see. I don't know. I'm not gonna find it right now. Is it Pygmalion? What is the name of that guy's thing where he's talking about I don't know. Um, anyway, I forgot what it is. Saying, yeah, so anyways, I was trying to but it happened in a dream first, and then I don't know that I saw her in another dream. But then it's just like you don't make these things up because you don't like name them either. It's just like uh you just kind of discover them, and then it's only been in these weird states where like my imagination's just right, or it's just lucid enough or something, or loose, and then if I actually try to um gosh
Is it nevertheless something that your subconscious mind is making, even though you're
no,
not doing? I mean, you're not doing it intentionally, but
it could be. It feels
there's no way to
outside of
know, I
me.
guess.
Yeah, it
Well, it's
feels.
either a glimpse into a super reality or it is a sub reality.
Yeah, this one. See, like I think the reason, like, and when I describe this one, like honestly, it would feel like a fairy. There's like, because even the story I was like telling you I was trying to write about it or whatever, like some of the characters feel inside, right? Like they feel
Part
like
of
they
you.
could be, yeah, yeah. Like, and Craig's talked to me about that too. Where you find like little parts of yourself where like, okay, this part of myself acts like kind of beastly. So this is kind of this character or something like that. This is totally outside. And that's like I can't grasp her. You know, it's just totally like it feels like a fairy or something. And it's almost like there's not really even it feels kind of purposeless in a way. Like it's just really strange. I don't that's why it's so hard to talk about because it's just like um I've only written a few things, and it's like I can't willingly encounter it. There's probably places I could get to mentally where I could maybe like have a more likely chance of like having an interaction. Not encounter is probably a stupid word, but maybe an interaction. But I've wrote like even when I like I remember one time I was trying to write down something, and it was almost like you're just there, then all of a sudden you just are like, I don't know how to describe it at all, really. It's just silly. I shouldn't even be talking about this. It just feels stupid to talk about. It's like
This
your
is
heater. It's
this is the
like you
last
don't even
40
want to talk
minutes. It's
about
like
it.
we
You're
we
talking to
shouldn't have
heaters.
cracked this up.
I'm talking to fairies. What's going on here? I'm
John's
trying
being
to.
totally rational.
I know, right? Let me
Hardly.
see. I want to see if I can find anything.
I'm,
No,
I'm
you
just
wait.
sitting
No, it's on
here,
my computer. That's probably what it is.
Mitch.
Is
I'm
it-
just sitting here thinking, and I have like weirdly vivid memories of going to sleep as a young kid, just staring at my heater from across the room. I don't know why.
We got to do a survey now, to see
It's
how
very
rampant
weird.
this thing
It's
is.
super vivid. Like I'm able to put myself back in those memories, unlike a lot of other ones. I didn't even know I had these.
Maybe
But
it
like,
was talking to you, John, and you still got that stuff suppressed right now. You
oh
haven't touched
gosh,
this memory in a long time.
maybe it was bad things. Maybe it was saying that. It was never nice. I knew it was never a nice heater.
That was an evil creature. Why
I
did
never.
it go in
I
the heater?
knew I didn't like it in my room.
If I were an evil presence and I had to pick one place in the room to go and animate myself, and John wouldn't pull back the branches and let me in, then I would go to the most animate thing in the room I could find. Well, there's an alarm clock that's plugged in. There's a lamp that's turned off. No, I know where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go right into that heater where the electricity is spiritual and the heat is hot.
Yeah, and
Just
there's a glow, and it's essential.
and I'm the best chance in this room of convincing John of the dark things I want to convince him of. If he's gonna listen to anything dark coming out of anything's mouth, it's not gonna be his Mickey Mouse lamp. It's gonna be this heater. Mickey Mouse is a
I
contender.
can't argue with that.
I don't know. I can't find it.
Ah,
I don't
you
know
just
where I
made
wrote
it's
it.
weirder. It's even creepier now.
But you don't have the
Ugh.
heater anymore, right?
I have a little, not that
Can
heater.
you
No,
can you get it? Did your
that
parents get
heater.
rid of it, or
No, it's still at the house. I've seen it. I don't want it
I
around
want
though.
you to go to your house as soon as you can and take it to your home
Okay.
and spend a night with it.
It's weird because I really don't want to.
Mhm.
I'm a grown adult man.
Mhm.
Ah.
Mhm.
Spending it with what?
We
Sorry, I
should
got
do a
distracted.
survey. I'm not sure what this is about.
I'm gonna ask around this week for sure.
Do you have any good memories with heaters? Were there any good heaters?
You know,
Okay,
There was one at my grandma's house too that was different. It was very much like the one you showed me. But weirdly, I got the same feelings from that heater as well.
I love like you the utility of a space heater. I think. I'm sure I'd
Really?
have one all the time. I mean, you're both using one and with good reason. I hope that those heaters
I
don't turn
turned
on
mine
you
off.
guys. Oh, just now.
Yeah, I turned it off when I'd
I
rather be
actually just
cold.
yanked it, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's only in a cosmic sort of way that it relies on the electricity, man.
Right, right.
Only in the most materialistic sense does it rely on the electricity, because that's the thing. Of course, that's the first thing when things are getting scary with the heater. I'm gonna unplug it, right? But it doesn't stop anything. Those things grow bones.
Heaters grow bones.
Hmm.
What do you mean by that? They grow bones.
That's
This look you got in your eye.
I gotta go to bed.
These things grow bones.
I'll see you guys later. Thanks
What?
for the
You
laugh.
can't leave now.
I'm leaving
Talk to
right
us about
now.
this heater some more.
Oh my
No, wait, do we
gosh.
finish the chapter
It's
anyway?
Did
I can. I'm
All
out.
right, all right, all right, all right.
I'm very tired too.
See you
God,
guys.
Fine,
now
fine.
I feel all weird
About the heater or about going to bed?
about everything.
Well,
It's just
this-
bad.
thing that might be
Golly.
What a trip.
This thing that just
Wow.
leave. That was
Well,
interesting.
I think that was the chapter. We kind of ended on a weird note.
That
Jason,
was a very weird note.
I was really tracking with you with the whole dance, and the imagination. I'm going to keep that in mind as we go through. We'll have to meet sometime soon to talk about chapter 7. And I
Yeah.
hope I get some good sleep because I was planning on using this little heater.
So I have to. Audrey will protect you, I'm sure. I don't even know what the next chapter is. I've been trying to read through again, so
I have
started back
to.
over. So I'm good. I read through
All right.
chapter 6.
We'll talk about the next one.
All right, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
was
you
fun.
too. This
always
was
fun.
I've really missed this.
I think the heater part was my favorite part.
I know.
I'm gonna think about that a lot more now. I don't know.
I know Mitch is gonna listen to this because he's gonna have to see our reactions. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I really wanted to know the things his ear was telling him.
I know he's so mysterious all the time. He's mysterious about his life too. It's freaking annoying. I understand.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, so tell me about your childhood. There's nothing to say. And then now this comes out, and I'm like, you're talking to space heaters, and what's going on? Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it
Yeah,
out of him eventually. So Mitch, if you're listening, I can't shake this. I can't
Yeah.
forget about this.
Yeah, I know. Space heater. Well, now I know what to get him for Christmas, so
Oh my gosh. We should go in on one of these old ones from you.
yeah. We should buy a massive one. Just have it shipped to his house. The biggest space heater we can find.
With an intentionally really creepy looking face on the front.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. All right, man. It
All
was
right,
good
well, have a good
talking to
night.
you.
It was good talking to you too.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.